Welcome back, guys, to our lovely migrating to mix it up from other things. All right, this is where Keegers is going to eat some crow and realize that he set this up incorrectly, and you're gonna learn from his mistakes. All right, we're gonna talk about timers. Timers suck. Timers suck. All right, we're gonna go into some explanation on timers, and then we'll go into what I did wrong, what I think is better, and move on with our lives. All right, so here's timers. Again, you can see that I have a bunch of categories. There's a reason for that. And you can see that there are weird things on the category names. And I thought I was doing something smart. And all these categories start with a T for timer. Then they have a description of the timer. So T, amazing. That tells everybody in chat that they're an amazing person. And then it has a 15 at the end because it runs every 15 minutes. Okay, cool. So that's what my group means. Now let's talk about timers and mix it up for a second because they are a little complicated. So there are 3 different types of timers in Mix It Up. First one is uncategorized timers. So for example, I'm gonna go into YouTube 10 here. I'm gonna take off this name, delete, and save. Cool, now it's ungrouped. All right, ungrouped timers. Look at this bottom thing down here, this interval and this minute, or this minimum message. And then it does the timers based on that. Now, it doesn't do all of the timers that are there. I'm gonna put 2 of them there so you can see. It does not run welcome and YouTube at the same time. What it does is I believe it does top down, or it does the randomized timers from this field. So right now I got randomized timers on, so it'll pick between one of these 2. It'll play it in 10 minutes after the first message has been put through. The next 10 minutes elapse, then it'll pick the other one. Okay, so it does do a random without replacement until it hits everything, and then it starts over randomly. So that is cool. So hopefully that sort of makes sense, right? Sort of makes sense. Now I'm gonna put these back in their groups for a reason. Welcome 12, Dave, and YouTube. So that is uncategorized timers. Now we're gonna look at this specific one. We're gonna skip one. We're gonna skip to the timer. So this right here, this says group interval 10. You might also notice that my group has 10 at the end because that matches that group interval. Okay. Does that match because I put the 10 at the end? No, it matches because I put the group interval to match the timer, the group, right? So this and this are not tied together other than the fact that I typed that in myself. All right, so this is the second type of timer, technically third, where this now will look at the timer of the group and it will run every 10 minutes. End of story. Now, I only have 1 timer in each group because I thought I was being fancy. I was being lame. So this one will run every 10 minutes, this one will run every 12 minutes, 6 minutes, 16, 20, etc. You can have multiple timers in the same group. So if you wanted to do a group of timers, that's just 10-minute timers. Rock on, dude. Put all your timers in there. It does the same behavior. Well, if you've got the randomized timers checked, it'll randomize those timers. So every 10 minutes, as an example, it will run those timers, end of story. There's no minimum messages you can send, so it will just run every 10 minutes, okay? There's a third type of timer, and that is a timer in a group without a minimum interval. So if I just set this to, I think, 0. You can't do nothing, you have to do 0. What that does is what they call a super group. So it's a super group of the timers with 0 and the timers that are uncategorized. So again, it'll look at this thing down here and it'll say, okay, you might have groups. So then you might have logical groups saying like, I want to run live stream weekend timers in this group, and I want to run interims promoting timers in this group, and then you can enable, disable all that stuff in this interface, makes it just a logical way to categorize these things. But again, without that timer, they're all on the same thing and they're all linked to this down here. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. All right, so here's what I did wrong. And hopefully you guys are seeing what I did wrong and understanding what I did wrong. So I created all these groups. It was super cool. I went and I did this. I went over to Streamlabs. I went to my dashboard. I went back to the bot and I said, hey, what do my timers look like? And my dog has something to say about it. And you can see here that they match. So if I look at amazing, I took it out. There, amazing people. 15 minutes, 7-line minimum. So someone messages 7 lines, it does it. Well, this one can't do 7-line minimum for these groups, so I did 15 minutes, right? So I made them match. You know how stupid that was? How stupid that was. Stupid. Stupid. Let me tell you what I did wrong. So again, there's no line minimums. They're not going to be staggered. So every 15 minutes, that's going to run. Every 9 minutes, that's going to run. 20 minutes, etc. All right, so let's go through our thing. Let's go through our thing. Let's use the easy ones. Let's look at that YouTube one at 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, YouTube runs. Cool. 5 minutes later, we got amazing. Amazing is going to run because that runs at 15 minutes. Awesome. 5 minutes later, well, 20 runs. But so does YouTube because now we're at 20, which is divisible by 10. So now you got 2 messages that just came through, Linktree and YouTube. Uh-oh. 10 minutes later, YouTube runs. Linktree runs. Amazing runs. Do you see the cascading problem I created in my chat? It was disgusting. So for as cool as some of this stuff is, I would use caution as to what you put how you set up your timers. This is wrong. The way I did it was wrong. What I would probably advocate for, in my humble opinion, is using that supergroup. So use that interval of 10, minimum of whatever you want to have, setting your interval to be appropriate for your stream with that 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you want to do, and do it that way. I did this wrong. Now, if you want to have a separate group of timers, let's say we're advertising for our live stream weekend and you want to make sure period, end of story, that one runs every 5 minutes. I got a 2-hour stream time, so maybe that's a little bit more, a little bit spaced out more, but maybe understanding what I'm saying. Then you can have those special event timers in their own group with a timer. But I think I'm advocating for myself to take all of those timers out, group times out. I'm not sure I'm going to keep the categories, if I'm perfectly honest, because why? And go from there. So again, I want you to learn from my mistakes. I will admit that freely. So don't do this. This is bad. Have those group timers be something special that are specific and for a reason, but your everyday timers that you want to run every just straight up 10 minutes, man, just put them all in a group or use them uncategorized, because why, right? I might put them in a group just so then you can collapse them a bit, or if you've got some ones you want to add or subtract from your timer group, like your maybe affiliate anniversary or your birthday or whatever, that might be a good idea to group those, because then you can just turn them off. Or if you've got something special coming up like that live stream weekend that I keep mentioning, or my hardcore Minecraft server, special commands, stuff like that. So that is what I'm advocating for you to do. Learn from my mistakes. Don't do what I've got here. It's bad. Anyway, so I hope that this was educational. I hope that you understand those timer groups a little bit. If not, please go back and understand how they work. Again, the 3 different types of timers: uncategorized, categorized but without a timer. Those 2 are in the same group, the same mega group. And then your grouped ones with a group timer, those are just grouped together and run period, end of story, every so many minutes that you define on that group. Anyway, I hope that this makes sense. Questions, comments, concerns, clean jokes. If you want me to clarify something, please let me know. I will do my best to do that. And yeah, hopefully this helps. And don't be me. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Again, I will be honest with you guys. Take care of yourselves. Have a great one.